Something that stood out to me on our missions trip to Mexico was we got to meet this one girl, and I went on this trip last year, and this girl was like not doing great, and we ended up finding out she was struggling with like depression and suicidal thoughts. And then we got to see her again this year when we went back, and she's doing so much better now, and it's just really cool to see how God healed her for like us praying over her, and how much she's like growing and how happy she is. And now she's like involved with the church down there and is like serving in the youth ministry, which is really cool to see.
We did a block party where we went into like a poor neighborhood, and we brought them food, and we played games with all these little kids. It was just so amazing to see like the love of Jesus there. Even though they didn't have much, they were still like trying to share their food with us and play games with us. And it's just amazing to see the lady who ran that. She just runs it out of her house, and oftentimes it's just in the street. But she does that every single week for the kids to make sure they get food and to show them the love of Jesus.
I got to share my testimony, and it was my first time doing that. As I was sharing my testimony, I ended up speaking on things that the earlier speaker had been speaking about, but in Spanish, and I had no idea. And it was really just cool to see how God can work through the language barrier. And I had mentioned a verse in Psalms that said to be still and know that I'm God. And the person who was translating for me, she had also been speaking, and she had been speaking into that, and I had no idea. And it brought her to tears as I was speaking, and it was really cool to see.
We also had the opportunity to have a Sunday service with the people in the church and to pray for the people. It hit me hard when we were praying for them, and they're just weeping and crying out to God, but they don't understand what we're saying. They don't understand a word we're saying, but they feel your presence. They feel how your heart is reaching out to them. You're pleading through God to them. You're using the language of God to speak to them, even though they don't understand your native language.
I also really enjoyed the work day. Surprisingly, we did a lot of different things around the mission compound where we stayed. We had people like raking leaves, which is what I did. We had people like putting all the leaves and debris into buckets and like hauling them to the burn pile. We had people fixing fences. We had people pulling weeds and spray painting the playground there. And it was just really cool to see the willingness of all the students, and we really just all came together and worked as a team. And it was so cool because later that day we were leaving to go somewhere, and I was just like looking around the compound, and you could just see a visible change and like how much we helped there. So that was just really cool to see everyone come together and help them there.
So the last night we got to worship, and that was the best night for me, at least. It was really cool to see people in our group encounter Jesus, and you could just feel the Holy Spirit in the room, and seeing everyone worship and people crying and people deciding to be saved was so powerful and encouraging to see.